Dear viewers across the world, most welcome to my channel NAGA WORLD CONFLICT ZONE. Context: Lebanon is bleeding, its children left to die. 4-year-old Mila Mausa had been receiving chemotherapy for leukemia and already had a dangerously weakened immune system when she fell ill. The desperate family and doctors, dozens of hospitals, but received the same answer: no beds were available. When they eventually found an available bed, it was too late. Mila died in the back of a car on the journey there. Here, devastated mother had a stark message to the politicians who wrecked the Lebanon's once world-beating health system. Your conscience are dead, God damn you. Hospitals warn that chronic medical shortage will force them to halt elementary life-saving procedure such as kidney dialysis. We have to call a million pharmacies just to find one or two needles, said one analysis physician. Hospitals are cancelling operations. Laboratories are running out of testing kits. Pharmacies lastly closed the protest at the shortage of many medications. With anesthetic running out, will patient require removal of an appendix or damaged limb be offered the operation without pain relief? One specialist described such unnecessary shortage as a crime against humanity. In their determination to cling to power and protect privileges and sources of wealth, politicians have abandoned Lebanon's children, already weakened by hunger and poverty, leaving them to die in crumbling hospitals that are empty of equipment and medicine. The direct cause of shortage is the central bank's foreign currency reserves drying up. Long queues have been forming outside petrol station with the fight breaking out over a couple of liters gasoline. As Druze leader and MP Walid Jamblati really observed, failed states such as Sudan and Somalia are in a better situation than Lebanon today. What is Hassan Nasrullah's solutions to this problem? Lebanon can buy fuel and everything else it needs from Iran. The Hezbollah leader dared the authorities to try to stop him, ignoring the fact that Iranian oil is under international sanction. Ignore the fact that Iran products are often dangerously substandard. Ignores the fact that bankrupt Lebanon is no more able to pay Tehran than anybody else. Why is Nasrullah so desperate to sell out Lebanon's heart and soul to Tehran? With all respect to the glories of Persian culture, Arab Lebanon's traditions, society and language have nothing to do with Iran. Yet cast an eye over Hezbollah-owned Al-Manar TV, where all participants fall over themselves, trying to dress, act and speak like Iranian. Nasrallah is exploiting the crisis to divest the Lebanons of their sovereignty and identity, rendering Lebanon a subservient Iranian satellite state. Hezbollah already oversees lucrative operations for smuggling Lebanon fuel into Syria. 20 liters of subsidized Lebanese petrol instead of being sold for around $3 can be bought for $7 to $13 across the border. Hence, when Nasrallah talk about importing petroleum from Iran, this is not only a problem that he helped create but also a reuse for scamming Lebanon twice over, taking a cut on the profit from importing discounted Iranian oil, then reaping the profit from smuggling fuel into the Syria while scamming funds from the state purse in the form of unaffordable subsidies by setting up Iran supplied parallel pharmacies, grocery stores, gas stations, and bank. Hezbollah is shamelessly profiteering from Lebanon's demise. Lebanon is grinding to a halt. It was warned the last week that Beirut's port was at risk of paralysis because much of its essential equipment, including loading cranes, has become inoperable. This would leave Lebanon unable to import crucial supplies even if it could afford to pay for them, a disaster for export businesses and traders through many such companies have long ceased functioning. How are Lebanon's disgusting political classes competing with to win votes ahead of elections by morbidity, bribing grassroots supporters with coronavirus vaccinations? MP Ilyas Bousab from President Michael Owen's Free Patriotic Movement rented out a private hospitals and offered to distribute 20,000 vaccine doses, and numerous other disputes are touting similar tactics. Politicians once corruptly bought support by bestowing all manner of gifts and career opportunities on supporters. Now, through such ghoulish vaccines for vote schemes, voters are expected to be grateful simply because they haven't yet died. When Nasrallah rejects early elections, whatever the circumstances, what is the score of? Does he fear that no matter how much he bribes Hezbollah's core communities, voters will shun him in ever greater numbers? Does he fear that his ally Aoun will be wiped out following the spectacular collapse in Christian and national support? I spoke last week to my friend Dalia Salam Rahani, the publisher who is joining other national figure in spearheading towards One Nation initiative, putting together a nationwide list of independent representatives to take part in elections, change the face of parliament, and transform Lebanon from within. This refreshing initiative will allow Lebanon to start afresh, putting the country's people and identity first while boosting the technocratic capabilities to reconnect Lebanon into the global system. When Lebanon's friend expresses frustrations that the investigations into the last year's port explosion hasn't been allowed to run its course, I chuckle. How could such a commission fulfill its mandate with anything short of rounding up Lebanon's entire political class from the past 40 years and looking them all are complicit in a system that has always serviced itself and abandoned its citizens. Lebanon's only hope is the elections where nation with one voice reject all these criminals. Justice matter. The whole system of justice implodes when political, business, and paramilitary elites are too powerful and too feared to be held to account. Hence, it is a scandal that the Rafiq al-Hariri tribunal could be closed down. After all the resources poured into the inquiry, if Hezbollah can routinely get away with murder, no citizen can sleep safely. As Lebanon's medical systems, critical infrastructure, and political institutions continue to disintegrate, we will witness hundreds more millahs, innocent victim of a rotten systems. Sometimes a damaged limb is so diseased that the only option to save the life of the patient is amputation. Lebanon today is in critical need of such drastic life-saving surgery with or without anesthetics. Baria Alamuddin is an award-winning journalist and broadcaster in the Middle East and UK. Credited.